Hello, my name is Chloe Johnson, and my case brief is from the year 2015, dealing with parent and parent versus Stanford School Department in the month of April 17th, 2015. Okay, so the facts of the case, I really tried to boil it down, as the professor said, but I felt that so many of the facts, especially the history that the student had prior to this hearing request and the complaints behind the hearing request, I felt were really relevant to the case. So I'm going to try and go through these quickly. So since preschool, the student had a lot of aggressive behaviors that were manipulative, unpredictable, damaging, harmful, that had physically harmed other students, and so he was essentially kicked out of those daycares. That was when he was put into child development services and referred for an evaluation. So the psych evaluation was done, and he was found at the 95th percentile of, in the range, a lot of ranges, different areas of CBCL, Child Behavioral Checklist. And so a lot of recommendations were given. This is when you first start to see recommendations, and there was actually a mention of monitoring his moods in the future with a possibility of having medication within the next year or two. But this is the only time that that is mentioned in the history, and there's really not a mention of medication later on. So going into elementary school, within the first school year, 2010-2011, he was put into special education services and provided the services under the diagnosis of OHI for the issue of ADHD. And so PBSP was put into place for his unsafe behaviors. The school found that it was important to employ physical management defined in the safety care training at that school, and the mother agreed at this time. So we'll go on. And then he moved to another school only for a few weeks, but was then moved quickly to a different one yet again. In 2012, 2013 is where he spent this whole year at this new school. So 2011, 2012 school year, he was within one school for a few weeks, just to clarify. And then after those few weeks, he was moved to another school that was said to have the resources to contain the student, as it states in the case. So within this school, throughout the school year, there were 12 incidences resulting in the restraint or seclusion due to harmful behavior to himself and to other students. And he was also put in either in-school or out-of-school suspensions due to this harmful behaviors. And it escalates all the way to the point of, on May 16, 2013, the mother withdraws him from school. So this is the first time that you see this happening, that she's withdrawing him from school due to issues with his behavior and how the school deals with those issues on his behavior. So there is, yes, May 29th, there's an IEP meeting that goes on. So support, extra supports are given, other services are given. They adjust the plan to better support him. So some services include EYS. They give the option of putting him in a therapeutic program at Sweetser, and a one-to-one tutor service in the home while he's spent out of school. And the mother rejects all of the offers except for the summer tutoring program. So she doesn't want him to do EYS. She doesn't want him to do the Sweetser program, but she does take the tutor options. At this time, it is found that not any of his behavior goals have been met. And so there's the issue there. But the school continues to try in this meeting and further meetings after this, try to provide more services and adapt the plan further. So we will go on. September 4th of 2013, the BIP is designed to address his needs. So a variety of plans are put in place that goes along with that, and that is documented. Specifics even to the amount of minutes spent per week or per month in different areas such as OT or social work services, or even the specifically designed instruction. Everything is laid out in detail. And then there is a mention here, and I did not include it in there, but there is one mention in the case that states that the BIP did not include strengths or triggers. It did not identify intervention methods or the staff that's responsible for implementing those intervention methods. So there's a little bit of a gray area when it comes to safety plans or crisis intervention plans. So we go on. September, there's a string of incidents with aggressive behavior. There's restraints for therapeutic holds that range for momentarily to 5 minutes. And this is all documented. And after the holds are put in place, he is put into a safety room or a holding room, and the mother ends up taking him home. So on September 20th, we go on. In the middle of the month, there's a suspension, and then they meet again on September 24th. Here you see an IEP meeting was convened again because they see that the behavior is not really improving. So they meet again. The parent gives some concerns. The teachers give concerns about the behaviors of the student not improving. And so the parent's main concern is that she doesn't want restraints and seclusion to happen. But the school states and restates that the restraints and seclusions are seen as a last resort, only used as a last resort, and are used in the case that they see that he is a danger to himself or others, or if there's significant property damage. So they continue to say that that's not going to stop, that they use it in the most proper way. They're not abusing this technique. Then we go on. Even though the meeting happened and issues were discussed, the mother was still not satisfied. So she went on and requested for a hearing on September 26, 2013. Now this does not deal with this case that I'm talking about. This is a previous one. So the allegation that she brought was that the school failed to conduct a proper behavioral assessment and develop an appropriate behavior plan. Okay, so then we go on, and during the resolution session in October 11th of 2013, the school brings evidence and proof that the completion of the FBA has been done. Here are the findings, and they also prove all the provisions that they've offered her, and all the documentation is there from previous meetings of provisions offered and the parent refusing, and attempts at meeting in the middle and coming to a resolution. But obviously at this hearing, you can see that there was no resolution without the hearing. So the hearing goes on, and both sides present their case. But the issue was resolved on November 19th with the mediation, I guess at the hearing, the mediation hearing session, that the withdrawal was put in place. So the parents withdrew all of the allegations, and the school agreed to provide certain requests made by the parents. So, coming out of this session, there were more evaluations done. New diagnoses were found. This is when the struggle between the school staff and school officials, there's a struggle between them and the parent and a particular physician who start to argue the matter of restraints and seclusions. So on the parent and the pediatrician side, they're saying that it is not beneficial, that it's not appropriate, and that it's actually damaging him. But as the school officials had implemented the restraints within the regulations of what is allowed for restraints in these emotional escalations or behavioral escalations, they have all the proof, they have all the documentation, and they continue to reiterate that it is necessary, it is proving that when they are when the student is put in restraints, he is able to calm down and he is able to regain his self-control. So this struggle starts to happen at this point after the withdrawal of the first hearing, or the first request of the hearing. So then we see that between the months of November and March, it continues to escalate again, with suspensions and more restraints, and then it starts to go to issues on the bus, when he is on the bus, because in the past IEP meetings, they had decided that one of the conditions for his IEP was that he needed to be at school every day on time and take the bus to and from school. So incidents start to happen on the bus here at this time between November and March. And administration actually requests that they go back and add in different plans and crisis interventions, particularly for the time on the bus, because that was not laid out previously. So this is actually a part of the critical thinking, so we'll skip to that later. On March 3rd, 2014, the mother submitted another complaint about the Maine Department of Education Rule Chapter 33. So school officials start to reply to that. They start to make plans to have a meeting, and then there is a misunderstanding that they thought that they needed to do this, and then after doing research, they found that regards to the Chapter 33 laws, they didn't need to have another meeting because of these incidences. So the mother had threatened previously. I didn't add that in. Like I said, I'm trying to really cut down on the facts. Previously, she had threatened to take him out of school and move him to other schools, and this happens again after they said, oh, sorry, this is a misunderstanding. Let's try and meet so we can address your concerns, but it won't be in regards to the Chapter 33 laws in the way that you are expecting it to be. So she begins to threaten again. So this is, even though he had already been diagnosed with ODD previously, this is when